Hi there, and welcome to a 6-in-1 movement break. I'm Lori, and I have Jason here with me today. We're going to be doing a workout that focuses in on hip mobility and core stability using planking and lunging. Jason's going to show you one option, and I'm going to show you another. So let's get started. We're going to begin with a little bit of spine mobility. So we're going to start with a little bit of a forward bend and an upward extend. You can see that there's different ranges of motion that you can do as you go through this activity. So it's just a nice relaxed, folding the body in and then lifting the shoulders up. Let's do one more like that, leaning forward and then lifting the body as tall as we can. Next exercise, we're going to do a little bit of a side-to-side lean. You want to stay within a comfortable range of motion. This one you can imagine like you are standing in a skinny hallway and you got to stay within it as you lean side to side. And then our last spine mobility is going to be a rotation. So here I'm just going to keep my hands low. Jason's got his hands upright for this. And I'm just doing a little bit of a reach towards one knee or the outside of my thigh and then the other. Here we want to feel the rotation coming through the hips, but we also notice how we're getting rotation all the way up through the spine. We're getting it ready for those planking motions we're going to be doing and the lunges ahead. And let's do one more on each side. All right, let's get into our first plank. I'm going to do an upright version. You could use a steady chair, or you might use a counter to do this. We're going to be moving the hips front to back. So this would be called a front to back plank. You can choose variable hand positions and just moving through a comfortable range. This should feel really good through the spine and hips. And we're going to get one more. And then we're going to move right into our first lunging exercise. So our first lunge, we're going to step 1 foot forward. If you're doing this on the ground, it's great to have a pillow under the knee or something soft. So we have our right foot forward here. We're just going to do a lean in forward. We want to feel the body weight shifting into that front leg. But the real goal here is to stretch the hip, the front of the hip, on that back leg. So you should be feeling a nice, gentle stretch on the hip there. Now, as we do this, I want you to go through a comfortable range of motion and just at a slow, steady pace. And of course, what we do on one side, we need to do on the other. So let's switch legs here. Same exercise, get yourself set up. Kind of soften into your knees and hips a little bit, and when you're ready, we feel that body weight transferring front to back. We want to feel the movement here going into the hips. This is about hip mobility, so we feel strong in the core, we're nice and upright, and we're feeling no pinching in the low back. If you notice any pinching, then you want to back up a little bit, make the movement just a little bit smaller. All right, last one there. Let's go back to our plank exercise. This time we're going to be moving in that side to side direction. So place your hands however it's comfortable for you to do. Maybe you even want to get in on the forearms. Now we're going to take our hips in this plank position and we're going to slide the hips right to left. You allow your heels to be up off the floor for this one. You want to try to have the body in a nice neutral alignment. And you'll notice that, depending on the position of your body, if we're using a counter, we might be a little bit more, we have less gravity. So this is going to be a little bit less pressure on the hands and the wrists. So you want to find that level of load that's comfortable for you. And there you go. Let's move back to our lunge. This time we're going to add a little bit of that side to side motion with our lunge. We're going to take our right lunge out to the side. We're going to lean into that lunge, come on out of it. Here we go. You should feel the stretch again down the front of that back hip, but you'll notice the stretch feels a little bit different. Pulling on a little different angle, just getting a little bit variable mobility in the hips. And we got last one here. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, switching, working on that angle again. Get yourself set up, try to stay upright, try to keep the movement into the hips. You might notice that your range of motion is slightly different from one side to the next. So your right, you might have a little bit more mobility than your left, or vice versa. All right, almost there. And let's go back to those planks. This is the one that is going to take us into the rotational plane. And this is one of my favorites. So here we're going to be turning the body. And as you rotate, you're welcome to let the body dip down towards the floor and then back up towards the ceiling. So here we got a lot of core stability happening as you are working against that gravity pulling you down and having to work up against it. Again, this should feel comfortable. It's a challenge for sure. However, we shouldn't feel any pain within the joints as we are rotating. You're also welcome to change your hand positions, change your body position if you need to halfway through. If you're down on the ground and you find you just can't handle the full length of time on the ground, don't be afraid to switch the hands up and get into on the forearms. All right, let's get into that lunge. Now for this lunge, I'm going to give you an option. We're going to be placing the foot forward on the right, a little bit wide again, but now Jason's going to show you a toe out version. I'm going to show you a toe in version. So we're going to lean into that, just that lunge, just like we did in the other two rounds. And you can try one, see how it feels for you. Maybe try the other one, see if you prefer it toe in or toe out. Each time you do this workout, you might choose a different foot position. You might turn it a little less in or a little more in, depending on what your body needs that day. On this one, we want to feel, when we got the toe in, we should feel some nice stretching or loading of the hip on the outside. When we have the toe out, you're going to feel a little bit more inner thigh stretch. And let's switch and do the same thing on the other side. So again, you can play with those foot positions, and what your body needs on one side, it might not need on the other. It might be something different. That's where we want you to always be thinking about, how do I personalize this movement for me? Do I need to modify that foot position a little bit? Do I need to tighten up the range? But we always want to feel like we're noticing the work come into the muscles. So we have a nice, gentle loading, strengthening the body, but doing it in a pain-free way. Okay, here we go into our final round. We're going to go back to that plank. This is our final plank. This is where we put all three together. We're going to do 2 repetitions in each direction. So start with the front to back. And you might be going at a different pace than us. That's all right. You want to find your pace. So you're doing 2 to the front, 2 to the side, and 2 rotation. And then once you complete that, then you just go back up to the top and you repeat it again. You might even want to play with some different ranges in round 2. And once you're finished that second round, or maybe you've already gone into your third round, that's all right. But we're going to wrap it up there and we're going to go into our final lunge series. This lunge series is going to be a stepping lunge. Now this stepping lunge is a little bit more of a challenge. We're going to go 2 steps in each direction. So remember the foot positions we did. We did that forward step. We did that forward but wide step. And then we did that forward wide with the toe in or out step. So this is going to create a lot more loading into the moving leg. And so you might find that it's too much. If it is, then just go back to that held position like we did earlier and repeat it that way. This is also a time you might want to play with the different foot positions. And let's stop there. Let's go to the other side and repeat. And we'll go in those same 3 directions, 2 to the front, 2 wide. You can have hands to kind of help you out, or you can use no hands at all. That's up to you on how you want to complete this. Now let's go one more time. There you go, and there you have it. Congratulations, you just completed some lunging and planking for core stability and hip mobility.